Peace and grand rising to the airs. Today is December the 20th, one day before the winter solstice. December 21st is going to be a very, very, very important day, but it's already started. The energies have already started working on each and every one of us. I know we can all feel it. I know we can. And
Happy Kwanzaa, stupid moops.
Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising, grand rising to the airs. And so we want to first say that everything that we have been doing, all the work that we've been doing throughout the years, is now manifesting, and that is what tomorrow is all about, is we are going to actually see, and many can see it already. When we first started doing the work, people were saying, I can't see what you're saying, I can't see what you're saying, and now we can all see. We see, yes. And I'm grateful for that because, you know, that means that we're a lot more comfortable saying what we see. So one thing I wanted to say about we get a lot of correspondence either by phone or by email, by text, on social media, YouTube, Facebook, etc., from many other of the lands that we're all the heirs to. We recently got a question from one of the heirs in Germany, and I published that one on social media as well. We want to say that to all of the heirs at all of the lands, that our flag, and it's this one right here, the red flag with the green 5-pointed star, our flag is your flag too. We are one. The lands are still connected underneath the water. The land is not disconnected just because there's water on top of it. So we're all still one. Our flag is your flag in Germany territory, in Australia territory, Sweden territory, China territory, Vietnam, everywhere. Our flag is your flag, and we invite you to fly it. Free yourself and fly it. We're one. All of us. We never were separate. We just thought we were, but we're not. So I want to make sure that we broadcast that message to the whole earth, that there's not a single living being on the earth that cannot fly this flag. We all can. We're all the heirs. And if you are alive, not corpse status, but alive, living, breathing, you can fly this flag. We're one. And we want to make sure we put that out there, because in the question that came from our brother in Germany, he wanted to know if he could use the same nationality document that we use. And of course, he can, because that's a Mexam too. This is the uniting of Asia. The uniting of Asia is the uniting of all. Every living being on the earth and even off the earth. This is the uniting of all of us, back together in our full godness. And so anyone wanting to fly the flag, fly it, use the documents. That's why we put them out there. sign them in red in all lowercase letters, and join your own nation that you've always been a part of by bloodline and birthright. We just didn't know it. Now we know it, so we're going to broadcast that spell and break a whole bunch of other spells all at the same time. So I want to make sure we put that out there, and I'm going to say that as often as possible. No matter where you are, the islands, Trinidad, Tobago, French Guiana, South America, which is a Nexum, which is Al Morocco. All of this is Morocco, ancient Morocco. We are the Al Moroccans. We're the Americans. We're the heirs, the Moors. So we want to be sure that we put that out there, that we're not selfish with our flag. We're not selfish with anything that has to do with this vast estate, because it's endless. It's endless. We create it as we go, and it never stops growing. So I want to be sure we put that out there. Use the documents. Use them at your will. And pass them out freely to all of your Moorish friends. Put them out there. Use them. Everyone sign them. And then if you want us here at North America, Nexum, Ancient Morocco, to see them, put them on the Moorish American Consulate Public Records page so that we can give you some Islams from here too. And we can all, validate and recognize one another. That's important. We get those types of questions all the time because they had us thinking that we were different from one another and that we were separate from one another, but we're not. So I wanted to make sure, especially at this time with the energies being what they are. Many of us, and speaking of the energies, many of us were watching, we have been introduced to a number of videos that Moorish astronomers and astrologers and cosmologers and cosmogonists are doing with regard to the energies for tomorrow. And I learned a lot by looking at that, and some of us, we've had those discussions over the last couple of days. So I'll just repeat what we've been saying, things very similar to this all year about where we're going. This is the Grand Rising. On December 21st, which is tomorrow, and this is just a brief overview of what we know about tomorrow, aside from what's affirming in our spirit. But I want to give this brief overview of what tomorrow really means for us. And this is some of the language here. We've been using it all year, but after seeing our brother Real Naga's video, he really broke it down. Some of the things that he said was that on December 21st, Saturn and Jupiter there will be a conjunction of those two, and those two are the largest bodies in the universe. He said also that Saturn is about law and government. Jupiter is about great fortune, okay? And with Jupiter, with those two converging, it means everything with regard to those who are willing to harness the energy and use it to our advantage here. We know that this is the time of the heirs. This is our time. We know that. The time of those who were previously pretending to be us is over. It's a wrap. It's done. It's finished. And when the Christ was crucified on the cross in their anthropomorphic stories, the last words were, "It is finished." Well, we were denationalized. We are risen. It is finished. And now our time begins. So we want to, what he said also on one of the things he said.
Happy Kwanzaa, Sealing Negroes. Happy Kwanzaa.
That when those two come together, Jupiter flows, and this was interesting. Jupiter has an energy that slows things down, and Saturn has an energy that speeds things up. And that when they come together, there is a cancellation that happens that equals all energy, Justice Jermore, which is what you've been talking about, which is the all, the energy of the all. And that energy, we as energy beings can take that energy and do whatever we want to do with it. Because we're starting at aught, which is everything. We're not starting at zero. We're starting at aught. That means it's a clean slate for the living. Another thing that he said is that on that day, tomorrow, that the sun drops down to aught degrees Capricorn. And that Jupiter and Saturn will be coming together at aught degrees Aquarius. And we know we're in the age of Aquarius, so that we affirm. He said with all three at aught degrees at the same time, it means that three of the most influential bodies in the solar system will be at aught degrees, which is a reset. So this great reset that they've been talking about is all about the heirs, the living energy that we are. And I will say that that reset is a reset of all energies, all of them, because the living are awake now. So we're reset from corporate energy into living energy. And he said that this opens the door for us to create whatever we intend to manifest. Saturn is a planet of hard work and the repaying of hard work. We know we've worked hard, haven't we? We've been through some stuff in this, this past age. We've been through some stuff, and some are still going through it. Some are still going through it, so we don't want to forget them. We're with them, too, as they're being tested. Saturn is the planet of hard work and the repaying of hard work. And Jupiter is the planet of great fortune. So when they come together, the repayment of the hard work meets with the great fortune. Aught energy by all three bodies means no opposing energy in the universe for those who clear their energies. And this is me saying that now, because I mean, we all know this, that when we clear all of the energies, we nature abhors a vacuum. So we clear the energies that are corporate. We don't leave that space empty. We're now putting in the energies of Saturn and Jupiter. So we put the energies in of repayment and great fortune. And then we continue to clear out. It's a continuous cycle of clearing out the old energies. We're coming out of that with some, there's still some programming going on in our mind. We have to continue to clear that programming energy so that more of Saturn and Jupiter energy comes in. And that energy is said to be here for the next 2 years at its height. So we have 2 years to just create and build and build and build and build. And we really have forever to do that. But the things that we've built thus far, we did it when there was opposing energy. So how much more now that there is no opposing energy? And the no opposing energy has everything to do with us and our energies. Some are still going to have opposing energies because they're going to be coming out of that and bringing some of that opposing energy with them. They have to be willing to clear it. Clear the opposing energy. So that's going to depend on each one of us and our willingness to clear the corporate energy. That's why we had to terminate the corporate contract, because we're leaving that energy and that whole corporate structure behind and being ourselves. It's a living structure now. It always has been, but it was covered by that corporate structure, and now we're in the living structure without the corporate covering.
Islam?
Islam.
May I just interject a little tasty bit here?
Sure.
You know that saying that we were taught, nature abhors a vacuum, was actually hiding a truth behind it, that the reason they say nature abhors a vacuum, as if its nature is something other than us, is to hide the fact that when we, who are nature moving around in itself, when we put anything out, every time we put it out, we also have it replaced with something better than the best that we put out.
Yeah.
That is where the story that the nature, us, abhors a vacuum. It's not that we abhor a vacuum, it's that we created ourselves that way.
Yeah.
To be cyclical.
Yeah.
And that's it. The output automatically produces input. Islam.
Islam. We are math in motion. Input, output. Input, output. And even with relates to our health, what we put in is going to determine what manifests. So as we move up, because this is a grand rising, this is an elevation into this new era, something to think about. We're leaving behind some energies, leaving it back in that Piscean era. Why are we leaving some energies back there? Because we are about to get better at everything exponentially. And the only energy that can hinder us getting better at everything exponentially is any energy that did not serve us well previously. Energies like, and I'll just pick one out of the air. Mm-hmm. Energies like an oversized ego, for example. An oversized ego will make it so that we say things when it's time for us to demonstrate. We say things and we don't have to say those things, and those things end up getting us in trouble. So we want to leave those energies back there. Ego is, and all of our energies are useful at some point in their right amount, when they are right sized. They're useful. There's not a single energy that's within us that we cannot use for something good. So now, as we move into this new era, because we're already in it, we're just elevating in it. We get to create already. We've already laid the groundwork. The documents and things that have been put on the record cleared the way so that there's no corporate covering holding us down and us having to use our energy to deal with that corporate covering. If we continue to stand, which we will, that's not even an if, that's as we continue to stand, and continue to keep that corporate covering off of us, then we get to rise freely and unencumbered. So as we do that, let's all think about together what are some energies that we will be leaving behind and why. And let's give that some thought, and then we'll discuss some of those energies that we are leaving behind and why. The one that I see that kind of gets in the way the most in our nation is the corporate energy in all its various forms and representations. That corporate energy, because it pretended to be us, and we're not that. We're not that. So what are some of the energies that you'll leave behind and why? Give that some thought. And you may even, for tomorrow, want to make a list, and then a list of intentions for tomorrow. And then at 11:11 a.m. tomorrow, no matter what time zone you're in, 11:11 a.m., take that document, that piece of paper where you've written out some energies that you're leaving behind, and burn it. And we're all going to do that together, collectively. There are other Moors in our nation who are going to be meditating at 11:11 a.m. tomorrow. So let that be a part of your meditation too. No matter where we are, we can all do that together and harness this energy, because again, ought energy is here. Ought means the all, and we know we're that. So we get to create the life that we see for ourselves. So there were some Moors who had questions. If you have a question and you want to ask your question, then feel free to star 6. I believe there was one of the Moors, one of the nobles, who had a question. If you'll star 6 and ask your question, and then all of the Moors that are on the call, you're free to answer, because I'm not the only one with answers. You all have answers too. This is a whole unified discussion that we have nationwide, so that we can talk to one another and assist one another. And I would actually prefer that other Moors on the call answer the questions, and then we'll just put our contribution in as well. There was a noble who had a question. If you'll star 6 and ask your question. If he's still.
Well, I hope you're talking about me.
No, there was another noble. We talked about yours, Justice Frank.
No, that's it. I had one more right. Just thought about that. I'm going to mute myself. Don't you worry, baby. I got you.
There was another noble.
Do that thing, man.
Yeah. Islam. We love you, Justice Frank. You know that. There was another noble who had a question that he wanted to ask at the beginning of the call. If not, who have questions? Okay. And if you'll star 6. Let me make sure I can see the chat. Okay, I don't see that noble here. Yep, I don't see him here. Okay. So what are some of the energies that you'll be leaving behind, if anyone wants to answer that question? If not, we have a topic that we definitely need to talk about. It is a we set, Justice Yezreel. It's a we set, that's for sure. I'm checking the chat. Islam. Yes. Okay. So we want to talk about the best way, just a moment, the best way to win, to not win, but to address our kin who are still in the church. Because many of us have kin that still in the church. I was watching some videos this past weekend of, there's a thing on YouTube that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. And it's about, it was just like them showing quote unquote funny church videos of people doing things in church it seemed funny at first until I thought about it. Those people are under a spell. They're under a spell. And it didn't even have it was Albions as well as Moors that were doing things that they would not normally do. And to see that spell.
Islam, Felicia Dejanay Bay, Maryland, territory.
Grand Rising Empress. Welcome.
Melanie Turner, Lawrence Bay, Macon territory.
Grand Rising, welcome. Those Moors specifically were under a spell. They're under a spell. That spell causes them to do things like have a set of beliefs, and this is not all, this is some, because we can't just broad stroke paint everyone with the same paintbrush. But by and large, many are under a spell, and they've been given a set of false values because, see, there is a true Christianity. There's a true one. And then there's that corporate one. It's a corporate covering that is not the true one. And that corporate Christianity is the one whereby, you're given a set of beliefs, things to believe in and things to have faith in, but there's no substance, because when it comes to everyday application, their lives are not better. And to me, that is a spell. That even the things that they're told to believe don't help them when the rubber meets the road, essentially. Those things don't help them. And many of us came out of it because something as simple as the light bill was not able to be paid, but you were still being asked to put in to the basket. And we defined the basket a couple of weeks back. And again, I'm not indicting anyone. It's a system that I'm speaking about. Not people, but a system. That system falls under the secret treaty of Verona. That's where that system comes from. It falls under the secret treaty of Verona, and we know what the secret treaty of Verona is about. It's about making us, the heirs, docile, so that we don't do what we're doing right now. And so my heart went out to those who were even in those videos. I actually even saw a familiar face in one of the videos of someone that I grew up with. Outside of that environment, they are sensible people. Sensible people. But in that environment, it causes them to do all types of things. And I'm sure you all have seen that. I'm sure you've seen. So we need to send some energy that way. Especially, we don't want our kin to miss out on these energies that are here now. And since we can create what we want to create at this time, we can also speak to them. Yes, in the chat, Constantinopolitan Creed spell. That is absolutely what that is. And so we want to send some specific energy their way now that we are doing what we're doing, because they need to come. They need to wake up. It's time for them to wake up. And we need to be ready to assist them when they do wake up so that they know that they have awakened heirs who can assist them. One thing I noticed about this whole Grand Rising is that as we graduate to different levels, as we continue this Grand Rising, there are Moors already at that level waiting to assist us. So we don't have a thing to worry about. There are Moors that most of us have not even heard of yet because they've been blocked off from us. That when we get to a certain level, we get introduced to the Moors that are already there, and they're already teaching, and they're already giving out the information freely, the same way that we do. They just give the information freely so that we can all digest it and use it to our advantage. And so we want to send some energy that way. Those who want to lean any of the 501c3s, and they've gotten a little crafty and started doing 501c4s and all of that, because that's a little craftier, but it's not really crafty because it's still under the United States Corporation Company that is defunct and bankrupt and non-existent at this point. So we need to be doing liens and court actions there too, so that our brothers and sisters can come out of that, because they need to know who they are, and that spell needs to be broken. So we speak a spell to them, to those energies. First, we always speak a spell to our brothers and sisters who are under that secret treaty of Verona spell, that we are with you in terms of we are waiting for you to come out of it. We love you. This is for those ones that are doing business as Christians, because that's another corporate term when it's in capital letters. So when it's in all lowercase letters in red, it's the real ones, the real Christians. So nobody is saying you have to not be a Christian. You can be a Christian if you want to be a Christian. But when the information comes, we have to open through it and look at it and examine it like we do all information. So we send awakening energy to our kin that are in those places, and they may not feel that there's any other way out, anything that they can do to come out from under that spell. They know it's a spell just like we knew. We knew there was something wrong. They can feel it in their spirit just like we could. Many of us who were in church, we knew something wasn't right. because things were not getting better for us. But we kept hearing all this information that is actually now more applicable now that we're awake than it was when we were asleep. So we're at that point now where we can speak openly and freely on that and ensure that there's no misunderstanding about Christianity. Christianity started with us, and that's something that we put in place. The real Christianity, not the corporate fake one. So I was listening. I posted something on social media just recently at Light Tajiri Bay on Facebook of my mother. She was speaking on that, and she was a Christian, but she knew that there was something corporate going on. She nailed it. She didn't realize what she was saying, but she nailed it. And she talked about it in a very short clip about the corporate piece and organized religion and how we could activate our own power through that to overcome whatever it is, whatever that spell is. And she didn't say spell, but that's exactly what it is. So we want to, as a nation, send our energies, our positive awakening energies, to our brothers and sisters who are in those corporate churches, the corporate churches, not the real ones, the corporate churches, and send a spell of awakening to them so that they can come out of there, because we don't want to see them fall by the wayside, because we know that that whole system is fallen. It's finished already. It's already done. And that's something that they don't have to fall by the wayside. And it's been stated in the ancient text that all of us would be saved. Saved meaning save ourselves. The same way the prophet talked about. Prophet Noble Joe Ali. He said, I gave you everything you need to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. And that's what this is all about. We are our own Savior. We are the Christ. We are God. We know that. So are there any questions or comments about the Constantinopolitan Creed spell or anything like that? It's just amazing, because as soon as the ancestors started dealing with me about that, some of the people that I've known from previously who are still under that spell began contacting me. Just wanted to see how you're doing, And the thing is, they know how we're doing because they know what we're doing and they follow it. But that's a reason to strike up the conversation and then get a little more information, because they're looking for a way out of the issues and the situations that corporate status brings. Fake court, fake debt, those things. And there is a way out. We all know it. You have to demonstrate your way out of that. Clear energies and demonstrate your way out of it. So, are there any questions or comments or anything with regard to that energy? We can do whatever we want. But the boundaries, and this is something that the ancestors were saying this past weekend to us too. In this next era that we're moving into and transitioning into, let us not be deceived into thinking that just because we're past fake courts and fake policy enforcers, that there's not boundaries in place for us. Because that's a big mistake to make. Some, and not many, but every now and then, Some will think, well, if I don't have to be scared of policy enforcers, I can do whatever I want to do in terms of, feeling like they can go against the Zodiac Constitution and deal drugs and just take stuff. No. We have an even bigger responsibility to be competent at the repossession of the vast estate. And anyone making the mistake of thinking that this is a free-for-all will learn very quickly the ancestors are not playing that. So please don't make that mistake. Please don't. And that's just a suggestion because you can't tell sovereigns what to do. But I don't want to see anybody, not one sovereign taken because they make that mistake right there. I don't want to see sovereigns taken at all. But if that mistake is made, that we feel like we can just run rampant and not obey any of the laws within us, because we are the law, then there's a price to pay for that. And that's a price that we don't really, it can be avoided.
Anita Kavanaugh is right now.
Islam, welcome, Empress. So let's ensure that we keep that in mind, please. Because I'm actually, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I see it taking place. I saw it take place recently. Where there there was a thought process or an energy that said, someone was thinking we can do whatever we want to do and let's go do it. And there's a price to pay, and you see them paying that price. We can do whatever we want that is lawful, that does not harm others, and that is competent on the land. The whole estate is ours, period. There's a way to do it that is not chaotic. There's a way to do it that is sovereign and noble. And those who observe that inner constitution that we have within us, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great for those who do that. Those who keep their spirits clear and clean, etc. Keep them clear and clean and always assist one another. Sincerity is something that is key in this that we're going into, because the Albions used to have a commercial on television that says you can't fool Mother Nature. That's a hypothecation, but it's the truth. Might be able to fool some of us, but you cannot fool the ancestral energies. So that's just a word of caution. Just a word of caution as we move into this together, this new energy. Are there any questions, comments with regard to anything that's been said, or any questions or comments with regard to demonstrations that you're doing? Okay, go ahead, Justice.
I want to say this. I want to take it back on what you said. I'm trying to let you know that it's their ancestor. And I was shocked to see somebody believe what I believe. And you just confirmed it, when I met you. So I want to thank you. Please just that woman. Because the ancestors tearing her blood up. It's right in her pocket. So listen to her, and y'all be all right. Because I don't listen to anybody, And I don't. Do you realize I'm shy? Now I'm gonna let me shoot myself. Yeah, I'm shy.
It's fine.
Stage fight. There you go.
We answer to a higher authority within us. That higher authority is within us, and whatever energies we put out, those energies are going to be answered by energies that are already out there to match them. And so if you're putting out war energy, then guess what's going to come back? War energy. And that's not good. If you put out peace energy, guess what's going to come back? Peace. If you give to assist your brothers and sisters, even if it's just information, guess what's going to come back? Prosperity back to you. This is not like before where you had to put fiat in the basket, and we know that the basket is a representation of the casket.
Islam.
That's why they passed it all the time. Islam, Empress.
Islam?
Islam.
So
that part about the that you were saying just now, that there right again, that goes to the what they had us think nature abhors a vacuum.
Yes.
What we put out front, which they changed that by calling it, they said they put forgive, Forgive together, which is actually Foregive, which means we're giving forward, or as someone wrote a book a while ago, paying it forward. But when we give it forward or pay it forward, we create the automatic vacuum that pulls in whatever quality that we gave better than that, whether it be good or bad. That's where the exponential things come, where you say when you render evil, you'll get 12 times that.
Yes.
Islam.
The Constantinopolitan organizations are running and this is just, are running a nation, quote unquote, nationwide, because we know they're not really a nation. They're a society. But they're running a quote unquote nationwide repentance program where they're going all across their nation and having these gatherings where they repent. Well, this is what we know about the word repent. This on our flag is a pentagram. It's a pentagram, okay? And when they say, just one moment, when they say repent, that means go back to this. See, they're real slick. If you spell P-E-N-T-E or P-E-N-T-A, repenta, get back to this right here. That's what they're talking about. And then they have an appeal to heaven flag that they put out there in order to repent, go back to their oath to this. So go ahead, Empress.
Islam, Clarice Monique, Monix Bay, Dayton, Ohio territory.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. I was just wondering, you had mentioned something about whatever people put out into the universe, they receive.
Mm-hmm.
I, particularly and personally, know a fellow Moor who has done nothing but try to help people. Mm-hmm. And time again, he finds himself in sticky situations. And I'm just wondering why you think that is. He has helped family members. He has helped complete strangers. And I'm just in awe. Like, I don't understand why certain things keep happening to him when he deep down is truly a good person, probably one of the better men I've ever known my whole life. And I just don't understand. So if you can just speak to that for a second or try to give me some insight on that, I would greatly appreciate it.
I would love to. So there are some lessons that we are all here to learn. And we get tested until we learn them. And if we don't learn them the first time, we have to take the test again. And the thing about our ancestors is they're very, very generous with us in terms of they will send other more to us, you know, to say, hey, look at this or look at that. Or they'll put things up on our computers that will say, look at this or look at that. The messages that the ancestors send us get louder and louder each time if we don't hear them the first time. And so if there is someone who continues to find themselves being tested over and over again, it is imperative that they go within and get that ancestral connection established with, because it's already there, they just have to tap into it. But if they're not willing to tap into that and they think it's hocus pocus to talk about the ancestral energy, then they're going to find themselves tested again and again. Because, see, the estate is not just things. The estate is the spirit. That is the spirit that connects us together.
And I, too, agree with that. But this particular Moor has talked to me about the ancestors. There's been some sticky situations that I've been in as far as my conveyance is concerned, and I got out of it. And it's just like he's constantly trying to help. I don't believe that this Moor, and I believe you know of the Moor I'm speaking of. I don't believe that I shouldn't say I don't believe. I know for a fact that he doesn't think it's hocus pocus or anything like that, because he speaks to me all the time about the ancestors, and I actually was the one that thought it was hocus pocus. Mm-hmm. But as I've grown in my studies and I've moved on and got the whole concept of things, it just seems like he's continually being tested, and I'm just trying to understand why. Like, yes. What he's doing is for himself, his family, and I don't think that's anything wrong. And he's actually to the point where he helps complete strangers, and to where I'm doing paperwork for my family or my friends, and I hate to call him and ask him to break down X, Y, and Z for me because I know he's so busy. And he's like, listen, I can help a complete stranger, but I can't help my family. So to me, it's just like, it's bananas. And I've been on these calls for months and months and months, mm-hmm. and I haven't really said anything, but this is really bothering my spirit. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And actually, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say, but mm-hmm. I just don't know. I don't know what else to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm sure he doesn't either.
May I make a suggestion? May I make a suggestion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to say ma'am. I apologize for that.
Islam, Empress Clarice, we honor you. Islam.
Thank you.
My suggestion is this, that you go within and that he go within. And one thing I know about what he's going through in terms of being taken repeatedly, because I've been taken before, is that is the time that if the ancestors need us to flow all the way down, because see, what you're saying is in alignment in terms of busy, busy, busy. That means you can't really hear. And I'm just being straightforward. So the ancestors have to slow us down, because when I was 5 months old in 2017, in terms of Moorish science, I was so excited about everything. They had to slow me down for a minute so I could see, okay, what is it that needs to be done in this nation? What is it that needs to be done in my life? Because you can't save a nation until you save yourself. And so that is the slowdown time. Remember we talked at the beginning of this call about Jupiter being the slowdown energy and Saturn being the speed up energy, and them coming together and creating all energy, or creating the all energy again. That
okay, so I have a confession to make.
Observed. It must be observed. Islam.
Right. I was on the beginning of the call, but I couldn't really hear because my grandchildren were running around making noise. Mm-hmm. But I'll go back and listen to it. I'm just perplexed as to, I don't know. I'm very frustrated.
Get some peace, Empress. Whenever there's a highly emotional situation, we must seek peace in order to hear the answers that we need. The peace has to be there, because if the peace is not there, there's going to be a lot of chaotic energy and you won't be able to hear. And that's where the frustration comes from. You're being called to go within and tap into your ancestral energy as much as possible, especially between now and tomorrow. And
okay.
One thing that you said that's key is you don't have to stop taking care of the grandbabies in order to do that. In fact, and this is something I was telling one of the other empresses the other day about the children. If the grandbabies are small and they need to be held and all of that, that's one of the most peaceful things you can do is hold the baby, put the baby near you, and then go within and watch the baby do the same thing that you're going to do, which is get some peace, and then the answers will start coming. And that's not hocus pocus, because that's how we all get. Harvard didn't teach us this, okay? Harvard didn't teach us this. Harvard didn't, and the school system didn't teach us how to read. That comes from Akashic records. And so our brother that you're referring to must quiet all the noise and go within and stay there for a while and hear what the ancestors have to say. The time that I was in there detained in 2017 was the time that I learned the most about where we needed to go and what I needed to do. That's when they speak not to the whole nation, but directly to the Moors that are in there. And we have to be willing to listen. We have to come out of the emotion and be willing to listen. See, it's the emotion that causes all of the chaotic energy. We must go all the way down to zero entropy or aught entropy, where energy is concerned. In other words, quiet everything down so you can hear what they're really trying to tell you so that you can rise. See, no Moors have to go to jail. None. No Moors have to go to jail, Empress. It's avoidable. Unless we choose not to hear. He that hath an ear, let him hear. Grand Sheik talks about that too. He said, he that hath an ear, let him hear. The ones that don't hear, won't hear. They just won't hear until they're ready to hear. And when they're ready to hear, they'll hear. But you can't make someone hear by worrying about them. And that you're referring to is going to happen until they hear what's the answer. Not what I'm saying and not what anyone else is saying. They got to hear what the ancestors are saying to them. There is a specific message that the ancestors have for that one right there, for each one of us, actually. And they have to be willing to hear it. We can help everybody, but not really. We actually have to help ourselves first. Then we can help others. But you can't help anybody, and we can't help anybody, if we're not willing to hear what the ancestors have to say.
And I believe. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I believe that in this case with him, he's always had a tendency to put everybody before him. That's just who he is. He likes to help. He likes to take care of people. I'm his younger sister, and when I was going through things I was going through, he was trying any and everything within my power. Quick story about my conveyance. I had terminated corporate contract. I had did the Appalachian change, and I had stopped making my car payment, my conveyance payment. So I'm at work. A coworker comes in and told me, hey, they got your car. They're about to repo your car. You need to run out there. So I went out there, and the tow truck driver was basically telling me that he was going to take my car. It was pulled in. He had my rear wheels up on the tow truck. And I said, well, you're not. And he told me, well, yeah, I am. And I said, no, what I think you need to do is go ahead and drop this. And he said to me, well, once I put it up, that it's a done deal. I said, well, I know for a fact that you cannot tow this vehicle if I'm in it. So I went and got into the vehicle. And he told me, well, I'm going to call the police. I said, well, you go ahead and do what you got to do, but I'm telling you, you are not taking this vehicle, not today, not tomorrow, not the next, you're not going to do that. So long story short, I got in a car. He called the policy enforcers. They came. Mind you, I am at work in my parking lot at work, which where my work is private property. There's signs posted everywhere. There's private property. So I'm in my conveyance, and the policies enforcers come. They have me surrounded. Literally every door there was a policy enforcer. I called the particular Moore that we're talking about, and he said, well, call a sheriff's office. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. He said, okay, I'm going to call them. He called them. He talked to them probably about 45 minutes. And it was actually kind of funny because one of the people at the sheriff's department said, oh, you're talking about that sovereign citizen bullshit. And he said, well, no, I never said I was a sovereign citizen. You didn't listen to what I said. Long story short, they dropped my car. And every policy enforcer went about their way. And my car was lowered, and I was able to come to my domicile. And from that day to this, they have not tried to repo my conveyance. I still have the same job. I still park the same place I always park. I still come home. I still park in my driveway, or I still come to my domicile, and park in my driveway. And it has been nothing. So for me, going back to what I was saying about this in particular, more just helping people, that's even before he was a Moore, that's just who he is. So I was a little perplexed as to why these things kept happening to him. And
the ancestors
I guess
have
that I
something they need to say to him. They have something they need to say to him because he's valuable to the nation, as are all Moors. He's very valuable, but he has to listen because some of us are coming. All of us have something that we're coming into this with that's left over from colonialism, some programming. And in order for them to get him to the next level, the level he's been trying to get to, by the way, there's something he needs to know about himself. Because this is about him. The things that keep happening, they're about him. There's something the ancestors need him to know about him that's going to assist him in getting to that next level. And one thing I know about the ancestors is the lessons that they try to teach us, sometimes it's hard for us to look at those lessons, but we have to look at them. We have to look at them so that we can fix whatever it is. And we're not broken. Let's get that straight. We're not broken. They just want us to clear some things out so that they can make room, so that we can make room for what they have for us. Just like we were saying at the beginning, our ancestors don't leave any place unfilled. It's going to be filled with something. We get to choose what it's filled with. And they're continuously trying to get each and every one of us to clear out the old, out with the old, and in with the ancient.
Okay.
Out with the old. So, Empress, I'll say this. Send and do the same thing we're doing here, especially with all Moors, but And with that one as well, the one that you're referring to, send some peace energy so that the noise can be quieted, so that he will quiet the noise for himself, so he can hear, so he'll stop going through that. And
okay.
You and I probably need to talk. Let's you and I talk offline too, because there's some things that that I want to share with you about that as well, specifically about.
Okay.
That. Yes. Do you have my number?
I do not, but I think I know how to get it.
Let me give it to you. I'll just tell it to you.
Hold on, let me. Okay, you got a pen? Wait, I have one right here.
Okay. Let me know.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
It's 334.
334.
334. 294.
294.
9828.
9828. Okay, I have 334 294 3828.
9828.
9828. Yeah, I don't know what I said, but that's what I had.
Yes. Okay, let's talk. I would love to.
Yes,
because we need to connect.
Yes, thank you so very much.
Listen, both of you come from bloodline that is so intelligent that it's a marvel to see, and the ancestors want to use that to uplift
I truly appreciate that.
It's the truth. That is the truth. But you know that already. Y'all know that. I'm just affirming what you already know. And that's how come he sometimes ends up in trouble, because he's so smart, and he has come to rely on his brain. And it's like, okay, there's another piece you got to get to, because he's logical in his thinking.
Yes.
He does logical analysis, and many more do that. Logical, they bring logic to this. And logic is good, but there's a component that was missing in the logical thinking that the Albions gave us, because that's animal logic, but it's not when we know how to use it. So
okay,
let's talk. Let's talk about that, because we need to talk about that.
We definitely will, and I thank you, and I appreciate you, and with that, I yield.
Islam, thank you, Empress.
Islam, thank you.
Are there anyone else who want to contribute to that, or who want to send the Empress and the more that she's referring to some love? Or any who have any other questions or comments? Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
I just want to say that Empress Clarice, this is Gio Ramor, Aquail. Rest assured, I have many monsters come out from all over the place all day long. I must choose whether I want to dance or I want to go learn a new tune or create a new tune. What I'm saying is that we are the ones that have to deal with what is affecting us, because it is only affecting us because we put it in our own way, and no one else can move it. If you look at the it's kind of been harping on what that is. For I say, you have to release the ballast, throw it overboard to rise up. And it is the very thing when you see when you talk about Ma'at, where we talk about the two ways, the gate to hell and the gate to heaven. Either one to go through them, it depends on if the heart is heavier or lighter than the feather. Any ballast you carry will make the heart heavier. Any ballast you throw off will make the heart lighter. So you have to figure what the ballast is and what it is we're doing. But it's all on us, each and every one of us at all times, and it doesn't matter who taught what to whom. They don't know. No one can know you like you, and no one can fix you like you. And with that, I yield.
Islam. In the chat, Justice Louis Anthony Mayel put something very, very, we gotta know this. He posted Revelation, the 18th chapter, verse 4. In the KJV version, there's a little bit of an echo, so I'm going to go ahead and mute wherever that echo is coming from. Islam. And it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, 'Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.'" That's where we are right now. Come out of that system, that corporate system, so that you don't have to keep going through the stuff that system puts us through. That system has no benefit for us. The corporate capitalism system has no benefits for the Moors. All of the benefit is outside of that system. Because guess what? We are the benefit. We're it. So I believe that's really, yes, in the chat. We still have to govern ourselves. That's actually, Justice Yezreel, what this is all about. Is no, there won't be any policy enforcers who can govern a sovereign. They never have been able to govern a sovereign when the sovereign knows who we are, when we know who we are. But there is a higher government, and that government is within each one of us. So when you talk about government and government structure, we are to govern our mental. And if we don't, there's a price to pay that is a universal price, and we don't want to pay that price. We want to go ahead and govern ourselves accordingly. And all we have to do to know what to do is first go within and hear from there, and then listen to one another. Listen to one another. There's so many more that are speaking, so many, and they have some valuable stuff to say, valuable information, valuable law, etc. So I'm grateful for us. Let's write our intention, because even in the ancient text for tomorrow, for the 21st, you all, this is so important, so important. These days, and now, this whole time is all about the heirs. So let's write our intention for tomorrow. Spend this evening thinking about it. Those of you who are going to be fasting tomorrow, either from sun up to sundown, or some can just fast from negative thoughts. And every time a negative thought comes, say, I'm on a fast, so I'm not having that thought. Because that's what it's all about, is governing our mental that way. Some want to do juice fast. We just came off of a 3-day water-only fast, and Moors fast according to whatever their ancestral energies tell them to fast, however they tell them to fast, which is honorable. And write your intentions, and then at 11:11, wherever you are, get somewhere where you can light that intention on fire and let the smoke go up into the atmosphere, so that those intentions rise up into the atmosphere and manifest. There's so much more we could say about tomorrow and about where we're at and where we're going. We'll be talking about that some more in the coming weeks. But tomorrow, all energy, that means the all. And after a while, you will know that you're well into the flow, because the corporate voices will get quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. And after a while, you won't even hear them. It's only going to be Moorish scientists and each one of us and our ancestral voices that we share with one another. So all of that comes from within. Having said that, that's all that that we have for today. Again, anyone wanting to if any of us have any suggestions for tomorrow as well, because different ones will be doing different things, you can speak that now. If there's any intentions that you want to speak into the atmosphere, you can feel free to do that now. And if not, we'll go ahead and conclude the call until this coming Thursday, or Wednesday rather, Wednesday. Are there any questions, comments, etc.? Islam. Empress Clarice.
Islam.
Yes, go ahead, Empress.
I'm sorry. I just want to know, 11:11 a.m.?
Yes.
Islam.
Yes, and
Thank
PM.
You.
And PM for those who are going to be doing things in the morning. Some have, are still in the corporate setting. If you can break away and do something at 11:11, go ahead and break away and meditate. Even, and then if not, 11:11 p.m. as well. For us, it's going to be from now on. We're going to be manifesting, meditating, demonstrating more of what we've been demonstrating. We've been waiting to get to this point for a long time, and now we're here. And yes, we know exactly what to do with this energy. And that's assist ourselves and assist one another. And manifest, manifest, manifest. So,
Islam, thank you.
Islam, you're welcome, Empress. Are there any other questions or comments? Islam. And with this, we say peace and a mighty, powerful, grand rising to the sovereign air.
Much love, much love. Ashe to our ancestors and Ashe to
Grand rising.
Grand rising. Peace and love.
Grand rising to all. You got this.
If I didn't know any better, I would think some ancestors were saying some stuff in there too.
That's correct. That's very correct.
Yes. It's almost like we can hear them.
Oh, I can too.
Yes, Islam.
It's true. It's true. They ain't nothing.
Islam.
Islam,
Peace
Lord.
and grand rising.
Grand